Welcome to StockInvest.us podcast. We remind you that trading involves a high risk of losing money, and that you should speak with a financial advisor before buying or selling any securities. You should not base your investment decision upon StockInvest.us. By using the information provided, you agree and are held liable for your own investment decisions.
Hi and welcome to StockInvest.us podcast for week 34. Just as we told you, BitCoin has finally passed 50,000. Microsoft did very well last week, also like we told you, now above 300. The two stocks that we recommended last week that I told you I would buy personally in the beginning of the Monday, Nvidia and Roku, is doing good. In this podcast I will do as I always do. My name is Jim. I will do as I always do. I will let you know how I think market will perform this week. And I will look into some of the major stocks, do just a quick technical analysis of them together with Bitcoin and DogeCoin. At the very end of the portfolio, I will tell you the two stocks that I will buy this week, and I will give you just a short overview over the high risk portfolio that we've been following since Christmas. It is Monday. I'm in Norway. I told you that last week. I was getting on the plane just before making the podcast last week. And today is a good day. My son is turning 18. And looking at the charts, everything looks like it will be a strong day in the markets. Last week I told you I believed that the market would be green with a fair chance that it would just go horizontal. And there were no really big movements last week, a little bit up and down. But Nasdaq lost 0.74%, ending the week at 14,714 points. So no special week for Nasdaq. It was a little troubled about all these problems in Afghanistan. While Dow Jones fell minus 1.1%, ending the week at 35,120. So we can see that Nasdaq is having problems with 15,000 limits. But everything is indicating that Nasdaq should just continue to push upwards. And as I told you, I believe Nasdaq will break 15,000, and once breaking 15,000, it should go probably fast up to 16,000 points. The reason I believe this, I've given so many times, I'll not repeat it, but looking at all signals across the world, we analyze more than 34,000 tickers around the world. We can say that right now only 60% of the companies are giving a buy signals. And why is this good? Well, because when you get low enough on buy signals, things will start to turn. Markets will go in a more positive direction. Of course, the danger is that when things are very low, they can even go lower when the scare is in the markets. But there is nothing indicating that there is a huge scare in the market. It's just very selective markets where some stocks do good, like Microsoft, Nvidia, for instance, while the rest is struggling a bit more. But I like what I see when there is 16% buy signals that indicate to me that the next round will be up. And looking at lots and lots of charts, we see the same pattern. They are in the bottom of the trend. And that is also usually a good sign. At Nasdaq, only 18% of the companies is giving buy signals, and last time this happened was 3 weeks ago, and Nasdaq had 2 straight good weeks afterwards. New York Stock Exchange is at 25% buy signals, while if we go to Europe, we can see that London have 29% buy signals. The most interesting of all is of course Tokyo, which only have 12% buy signals, and Shenzhen in China 27%. But we know that the Chinese market has, and the Asian markets, been hammered quite heavily. And that brings me to the first stock tips of the day. For 5 weeks straight, Chinese stocks, those traded at in US, have been really hammered, and this opens for a possible very good buying opportunity. So I will not be surprised if you start to see a lot of recommendations for Chinese stocks, that you should get into these Chinese stocks, which had, as I said, been really hammered. One of them is Tencent Music. It's extremely low compared to the value of the company. It's a money-making machine, but the reason for the hammering is the Chinese have had a lot of regulations, rules and regulations lately. But this usually open up as a trading opportunity. And you have to look at these trading opportunities. What do they mean? And earlier this week it was released news that PayPal will allow crypto for the UK market. That's another indicator pushing crypto, for instance, upwards. So pay attention to the big news, the big lines, because they will give you an idea about the direction. And one of the things that we follow in this podcast is, of course, the 10-year Treasury yield, indicating what are the expectations for the inflation, because we know inflation means increased rates. Increased rates means the money will flow out of stock market and into the fixed rates. You don't want the security, the insecurity that are in the market, so you prefer to have your money in the bank instead. But the 10-year Treasury yield is not moving at all. It's 126. I think it was 128 last week. So still markets are very calm, even though we know that the prices are going up. And last week I told you that you have to pay a little attention to the consumer price index, the spendings. That was for the last part of the week, and they came in at minus 1.1%, which was a little below expectation. Caused the market to fall a little, but not much. And last week was a lot of earning reports. These are now coming to the end. There is really no big earning reports coming out this week that you need to keep attention to. The oil is, as I said, most likely going down, and it is down. It's down $4 since last week, currently trading at 63. Can be that it will move a little bit up this week, hard to say, but in general I think that we would see oil pushing towards the $50 market. The reason is very simple. OPEC has increased the production, and there should be more oil flowing into the markets. There are more things to consider, like the oil consumption, etc. But with this Delta virus and shutdowns and new rules and regulations related to COVID, I don't see that the consumption will increase as fast as the production, and that just means that the oil should continue to go down. Overall, these podcasts, for those who follow me, know that I've been spot on the oil week after week, and I think that I'm on the right track when I say that oil should push downwards to 50. But as I also said, just to repeat that, I believe oil can have a peak upwards to 100. We just need a special situation. Could be that things escalate to the worse in Afghanistan, that we have some crisis around the Kabul airport. Anyway, I don't see that be the case, bringing oil up to $100. For oil to go up to 100, I think that we'll have to see a major conflict involving either China or Iran. This brings us to the very first analysis, which is Apple. The reason I will look at these major companies are simply because they will tell you something about the general direction of the market. Last week I told you that I believed Apple would end at $153. Apple did not manage to go that far, ending at $148. But if you look at Apple chart, you will see a very nice rising trend. The stock is moving upwards from the support at 145, has some resistance around 151. And first, when 151 is broken, it will start move faster. Volume is not following the stock, but it's getting very low. I think that is a good thing, and we will see when volume turn. I think that we'll see also the stock price continue upwards. Relative strength index is moving up as well. So everything in the chart is indicating that the stock should continue to push upwards. For the week as such, I think actually that will happen, and I think that the stock may end the week somewhere around $155. So we increase the target for Apple by some $2 from last week. especially first part of the week should be very good, and we will see how the rest of the week will handle. The most important numbers will be Thursday when the job numbers come in. Microsoft, which I told you last week, I believe would do far better than Apple did, really good. Last week I had a target for Microsoft at 300. I said we'll pass 300, could go all the way up to $305, and it ended the week at $304.36. So everything is looking very good with Microsoft. If you check for yourself, go to our webpage StockInvest.us, type in the ticker Microsoft or MSFT, and you will see it's in a very nice trend. Everything indicates that it will continue upwards within this trend. But getting close to the top of the trend also means that there will, with high probability, be a slight correction downwards. And I think that is what will happen this week. The volume is way too high, following the stock nicely, as I said, but the stock is getting into the top of the trend. So I think that we will see, could be today that the stock will continue upwards, but then it will start fall for the rest of the week. And I think that it will get back just below the $300 mark. Could go as low as 290. I don't see that actually happening, but it can be. Most likely it will go somewhere around 298, 297 at low. High could of course be that it will on a very green day today push all the way up to 310, but for the end of the week I believe that actually we will see Microsoft at $298. So for Microsoft I will actually reduce my target a little bit, but again everything looks very okay, and this is just a total natural reaction. Tesla, which I for weeks and weeks been saying to buy, did not manage 720 last week, ending the week at 680.26. Tesla is having a very nice trend. It's moving upwards. Everything is indicating that the stock should continue upwards, but every time the stock exchange struggles, also Tesla struggles. But if you go to the to our webpage StockInvest.us and you type in the ticker TSLA or Tesla, you will see that the stock now is at the bottom of the trend, and this is usually a very good buying opportunity. Very strong support below, some resistance above, first around 690, later at 720. But everything indicates that the stock should move upwards. I think the volume is following the stock nicely, another good sign. Our system ranks Tesla as a buy candidate. Totally agree to this one, and I think it is a very good buying opportunity as is. I started telling you to buy the stock when it was 560, and we had some huge nice gains since then. But even now there is a second opportunity to get into the stock, as this one most likely will just continue to push upwards. For this week, hard to say how high it will go, but I will not be surprised if we see Tesla somewhere around 730 high for the week ending. Hard to say, but we'll just have to put the number 720. So we'll keep the same target like we had last week, 720. And I'm pretty sure, unless something very special happens in the market, Tesla will be on the way to 800, later 900. Will be very interesting to follow. Right now, the thing that you need to, or if there is something to remember from this analysis, is that it has support below, just a little resistance above in a nice rising trend, and these things indicate that the stock should continue to push upwards. Gamestop, I brought in this meme stock simply because a lot of people following it. And last week I said that I believed GameStop would be able to push upwards to the $180 mark, but it really did not do. It started somewhat okay in the beginning of the week, then had a fall, rising again Friday, but ending at 160. But if you look at the chart, everything is actually looking, I would say, somewhat okay. The general trend is down, so if we talk longer down just 1 week, it's still within what we call a falling trend. It's still a negative candidate, but for short term, the relative strength index is moving upwards. Things are indicating that the support at 150 is holding, and the stock should move up. but resistance all the way from 160 to 180, later a little at 190, 200 and 220. So things will not go very fast unless there is a major news. The long and the short-term moving average has a general sell signals, but now they're getting close to each other, and once they break, it will turn to a buy signal. If that doesn't happen this week, I think it will happen next week. Personally, I think it will happen this week, and that we will see GameStop push upwards. That's the reason why I'm positive to GameStop in the short term. That doesn't mean that the stock will be positive for the long term, even not in the medium term chart, but it is for short. I see a buying opportunity. The big hurdle is 220, and I don't see GameStop past that anytime soon unless something special happens. First, if it moves upwards, and if it moves upwards on rising volume, we will be able to tell if it's a sustainable gain and if the trends are about to change. But nothing indicates that right now. It's just a short-term buying opportunity. So we'll keep the target for GameStop at 180, and we will see how it will be on Friday. That brings us to the crypto, and of course everyone loves crypto, and after being negative, people suddenly want to buy Bitcoin. If you listen to this podcast, you know when it was 30,000, I told you just get crypto. I told you last week that I think either last week or this week will be the top, where we soon will have a correction in Bitcoin again. I have a few reasons for this. Will not get into all of them, but it has to do something with it. It's been going straight up from 30,000 to 50,000. Most likely it will push upwards to 55,000. Then it will have a natural correction. Hard to say. Will it be the 42,000 level? Could it drop all the way to 40? Hard to say, but strong support at 40 indicates to me that the level will be above. Could even be only 45 before turning and go upwards. But we are getting close to a total natural correction for Bitcoin before pushing upwards. I'll just repeat what I said last week. If you look forward, Bitcoin will still continue to rise for months ahead of us, but now it might be a second buying opportunity. If you're not into crypto, you just have to wait for the natural correction, or simply decide that your trade is a long-term trade, because the chart indicates that Bitcoin should continue upwards after a slight correction. So what target will we put for Friday? Well, everything indicates that this Bitcoin for the week as such most likely will move between 48 and 55,000. When the correction happens, you don't know. It will push below 48,000. But it's so hard to say. I only got 5 days for this prediction. We are talking Friday's price. How will it go? Well, my guess is it will push upwards to 55,000. Will it do it today? Will it do it tomorrow? If it do it today or tomorrow, well, then it should correct down before Friday. If it just goes slow, very slow, 51, 52 today, 53 tomorrow, well, it could be 55 on Friday. It will just be a qualified guess, and I believe that on Friday we will see Bitcoin at 48. So for the first time in many weeks, I am reducing my target. It was 51,000 last week, and it hit 49,000 on Friday. So we have been totally correct on the direction. But again, just listen very carefully. What I'm saying, I think Bitcoin will do good for months ahead, but we are just getting close to a very short-term correction. First, should maybe rally peak up to 55. I will get out. I will try to do a swing trade. But if you are in for the long run, don't mind. That brings us to DogeCoin, and I bought, as I said, DogeCoin at 20 cents. ending Friday at 33 cents. So the money is really stacking nicely up also in Dogecoin. Dogecoin is struggling a little bit more than Bitcoin getting up, but if you look at the chart, you will see that the volume is actually following the crypto very nicely, and I like it. I believe Dogecoin during the week can push very hard. I will not be surprised if it hits this 40 target and maybe even above. The reason for this is that the volume is getting very low. As Bitcoin go up, you will see other coins, as you have Cardano, whatever you are into, been pushing very good. I think the same thing will happen with DogeCoin. It will continue upwards. I will not be surprised even if Elon Musk says something for fun that can put a slight rally into the DogeCoin. I told you last week, if I see the correct picture, I will be selling. I did not sell last week. I still have my DogeCoin, but I'm on the trigger. I just wait for that very nice position where I know I can do a swing trade, because I would like to just get out, see a natural correction, and then get back in, because I think if we look further, there is more to get also from Dogecoin. The target for the week will be the same as we had last week. It will be 40 cents. So that's where I think Dogecoin will end by Friday. And then it's the stocks. Last week I told you I wanted to buy Nvidia and Roku. I saw these two as buying opportunities. And how did Nvidia and Roku do? Well, if you follow Friday's market, you will see that Nvidia was doing very strong. So the analysis of Nvidia was totally correct. I was able to get in on the Monday on $202.30. I was not able to get in at the very low, but low enough. Friday it ended at 208.16, up almost 3%, 2.9%, and everything looks good. So I decided to stay in the stock. So I still hold Nvidia. I will hold it for a few more days because I think it's more to get out of the stock before selling. Roku, I was able to get in at $348 sharp on the Monday, currently trading at 351.2 or up just around the percent. I also still keep Roku because I think I can get a little bit more out of the trade. And you might think that 3% is not much, but 3% is actually quite good if you invest enough. Use a decent broker that doesn't kill you with buying fees, selling fees. And if you are up at a certain amount, usually your fees will account for around 0.1%, 0.2%. Then 3% makes you 2.8% profit. What are the tickers that I'm looking into buy today? Because I will follow up what I say. This week I am looking into Coinbase and Zynga. I think both these two stocks have good possibilities to do very well. So I'll do like I did with Nvidia and Roku. I will try to get in as low as possible today and trade them. Exactly where they will go. Well, I think Coinbase has the opportunity to move upwards somewhere, a little bit hard to say, but somewhere around 280, currently trading at 257. So that gives me around 7-8% trading range, which I think is very likely to achieve. Zynga, on the other hand, has very nice trading level between 850 and 970. Even sent a newsletter. If you subscribe to our newsletter at StockInvest.us, you will get some of my tips totally for free. And we sent, I think it was Friday, we sent out the newsletter. Thursday or Friday we sent out the newsletter about the possible buying opportunity in Zynga. And since the newsletter was sent, it was moving in the right direction, but right now it faces absolutely no resistance between 850 and 970. So I believe today and tomorrow can be very, very strong. Coming up from extremely low relative strength index position is always super good. This is a trade almost as secure as the bank. hopefully. Anyway, we'll put in Ching and we will drive that train and see how far it goes. That brings me to the very last part of this podcast, the portfolio, and just to sum it up, it was not a good week for the high-risk portfolio. The total portfolio ended down second week in a row. This time it was down by 1.7%. Diffusion unchanged, NEO fell a little bit, Petrogeo Service fell a little bit, Arbutus fell a little bit, Ur Energy fell a little bit, Oken more or less unchanged, and Velocity Energy more or less unchanged. So it was not a strong week for the high-risk portfolio, but the market was red, and especially for these kind of stocks. Friday was good for the high-risk stocks. I think high-risk stocks will do good this week. I'm just waiting for the real position where Nasdaq keeps pushing and people get into these high-risk stocks, and eventually I will get out of the high-risk market when I think the total market will be ready for a fall. But we are not there yet. I think we are in the final rally. I think things will just continue to push upwards. Anyway, that was the end of this podcast. I hope you will have a very nice trading week, that you will be able to push some green into your bank. I will be back next Monday before market opens, so you can hear what I think about that week. Until then, have a nice day.
That's the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you have any questions, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.